Okay, I know what I want to say. I have been living out of my car for about 2 weeks now. I've done this before, did it back in 2020. This time is different. I'll get into the details on my Patreon. I'm not getting into details here. There's been something really important that I've been discovering and has been unfolding that I want to share. When I'm not door dashing, which is how I'm making my money, when I'm not spending time in nature, hiking or walking, which is how I just recenter and ground and remember to breathe. When I'm not doing those two things, typically I'm at a bookstore. That's basically what it is. Working nature bookstore. So I have basically tried out every Barnes & Noble in the area that I'm in. I found my favorite one. It has the best amount of books, best seating, quiet. I have headphones now. I had to buy some headphones. And I have read in the last 2 weeks 12 books. Maybe I have a list in my phone. And something that I don't think this channel is going to become I've read this book and this is what I think it means or what it told me. I'm not feeling that. I'm collecting all of these books that I'm drawn to, and I seem to be drawn mostly to personal development, love, relationships, sex, and philosophy, and motherhood and parenthood. I've been taking all the books I've been reading and just dumping them into here. And they've been mixing and melting and creating a new web in my mind. And something really large, at least to me, that I'm noticing, and I think more specifically maybe to America, but obviously to us as humans, but the experiment that is America, and a large aha or revealing moment that came to me through reading all of these different books is how much we are not taught about boundaries, how much we are not taught to communicate clearly our needs, our wants, our desires, how many of us do not have secure attachment styles, and that many of the things that I was reading, that people ask for assistance and help in their lives, so much of it was leading back to your birth, childhood, how you were raised, what you were taught. Were you taught boundaries? Did you have a healthy attachment style? Did you understand just your uniqueness at all? Were you taught to love yourself? Were you taught how healthy communication looks like between your parents? And that's why I say more specific of the American experiment of how we're living now, based on all the stuff that I've been reading in these books. To throw a little human design into it, as a projector, especially reading these books, I understand why specifically human design projectors probably struggle so much in relationships, romantic or non-romantic, because we are primed and wired to be everything that a person needs when they want it, when they see you and recognize you, but also to be our own downfall, especially because something I think is lacking in human design is having people also delve into their understanding of what their boundaries are, as well as their attachment styles. These two things keep coming up in all the books I've read. One of them was Why Men Love Bitches, and as I read the entire book, I was like, oh, so what this writer is saying, and it was written back in the early 2000s, what this writer is saying is why men love women with secure attachment, or maybe avoidant, disorganized attachment to some degree. That's what I kept noticing. I was like, all of the things that are being recommended in here based on what I know about attachment styles is be with someone who has a secure attachment, which means they had a healthy mother-father relationship, which means their parents had that healthy attachment, understood how to communicate, understood boundaries, and modeled those to their child. And all of it just goes back to our interconnectedness as humans to one another and what we are and are not being taught. I wasn't taught any of this in school. Not one. And I've gone to a different school almost every year. So I have many pools of schools to say none of them taught that at all. Maybe there was one school I could have stayed in and they would have taught it. Maybe that was the case. But in every single school, I never once heard about boundaries. I never once heard about attachment styles. I never once heard about clear communication or healthy communication. You're taught to listen. You're taught to do as you're told. You're taught to get good grades. It's just all so backwards. But I've been reading all of these books and I've been gathering all of this data, and there's got to be some kind of solution. There has to be. So many of the things that I was reading were all kind of boiling back down to like your birth, how you're raised. Like, I know that sounds like, I guess I haven't read a lot of books in the psychology section, but a lot of it also too that I think most people don't recognize. When you get into any kind of interaction with another human, you are in like a psychology experiment or experience. Like, all of it is psychology to some extent. So taking all this time to learn my attachment style, to learn that I did not have boundaries, to learn I wasn't modeled boundaries or taught boundaries, to learn what healthy communication looks like and the way in which to phrase things, and how a lot of my lack in ability to do that is because of my attachment style, which was probably developed because of also not being modeled boundaries. Like, it's just like a vicious little tumbleweed circle. Anyway, I don't really know what the crux of this is, except to say that, like, learning about your attachment style, learning about boundaries, learning about healthy communication seems like wildly important to be teaching children, to be teaching their future generations, and also throwing in there as well for the human design people. Also, human design should really be encouraging understanding your boundaries. Oh, I just saw a van driving by. It says brand new wave. Yeah, there's brand new wave coming. I've already talked about that in the last video that I posted. There is a new wave coming, but like these new waves of children, these new waves of awakenings that are happening, just all this new wave of consciousness that's coming in and flooding into Earth, a lot of it is going to be around like doing this kind of work and like healing the attachment, learning how to have healthy boundaries, learning healthier communication styles. Like, if a child was raised with boundaries and communication, their attachment style would already probably be much healthier, because then they could feel safe to say when they need something or are not getting something. They'll be safe to say, I do not want this, or this doesn't feel safe to me, and make them secure. And then, being a secure being, you have healthier relationships with other people and you can communicate, and just like anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Just look into some books. I'll link them in the description box. I'll link all the books that I've been reading in the description box, and I'm probably going to make a separate video about projectors right after this. So thank you for listening. As always, I'm sending you peace, I'm sending you love.